Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 421. Andrew here. It's another one of those weekends where I have to work. Fortunately, I work from home, so I can take a break and do a podcast. Uh, my my workstation is live. Been working all day on stuff. It's the end of the year. We've got open enrollment going on. Got to make sure that all the stuff works properly. And I was actually considering not doing the podcast tonight, but it's always nice to have a break, I suppose. And as long as I get my stuff done this weekend, it's fine. And I'm certainly not keen on canceling tomorrow's Sunday stream. So gonna just cast a few pods and then get back to work. So, firstly, boy, it certainly was a week for AI news. I don't like AI because it's bad. It's a net negative by nearly possibly every conceivable metric. So, if you follow me on social media, I'm on Blue Sky right now. I stopped posting to Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Blue Sky, please do. I'm constantly posting some of the AI news that I read, and I make fun of the dumbasses who are trying to make it a thing. Not saying it isn't a thing, not saying it won't be an even bigger thing, but yeah. So the first thing I saw this week is I actually want to critique the article itself more than the actual news. The news is the same news you hear every time. The CEO of some video game company, some company that publishes video games, is really just loves that AI. Oh, num 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 num. I love the AI that we're investing so much money into. This time it was whoever the CEO of whoever the publisher of Arc Raiders is. There was a news article about how this CEO was saying how the use of generative AI in video games is good, actually, and everybody likes it. Everybody does it, man. Come on, you can't do game development without Gen AI, says the CEO of some company that publishes Arc Raiders. And this article contrasted that statement of this CEO with several comments made by game developers. You know, the people who actually do the work, the actual creatives. And they disagreed. Now, in the article was about 4 quotes, but they linked to several dozen. So, CEO says AI good. You look at the actual video game developers, and you've got dozens of people saying nuh-uh. But, in order to be fair and balanced, it seems, the article says, of course, not everyone is against the use of AI in game development. Now, what do you think follows? Well, you have a quote from a single CEO who says AI in games is good. Then you have several quotes and links to dozens of others from game developers who say hard disagree. Then the article says, of course, not everyone is against the use of AI in game development, so you might imagine what follows is a bunch of quotes from game developers with an opposite viewpoint. No. Following, of course, not everyone is against the use of AI in game development, was a quote from one person, another CEO. CEO says AI good. Here's dozens of game developers who disagree. But of course, not everyone agrees with them. Here's another CEO that disagrees. Now, I don't work for this publication. But if I may put on my editor hat for a moment, I feel that the not everyone in that sentence being another CEO should have been the highlighted point, right? That seems to be the angle of the article, or at least it should be. CEOs like this stuff, the game devs broadly don't seem to. I don't know if there are any good CEOs. All of them seem to be just genuinely bad people. Like, definitely some horrifically worse than others. Among the least terrible, though still terrible CEOs, is Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, who, 2-3 years ago, replaced an even worse Bob. He's a better Bob. He still sucks as a human being, though. But he seems to realize he's near the top of the crap pile. And seemed to really want to dig down further. According to a Hollywood Reporter, Bob Iger had mentioned that there have been talks about allowing users to upload AI-generated shorts to Disney Plus, their streaming platform that subscribers pay to access. And these AI-generated shorts can use their Disney's IP. Because Bob Iger said, you know what? I'm not the worst CEO. I'm not even the worst Bob. Hold my beer. That seems like a discussion that you shouldn't have, because it's obviously bad. And if you ever entertained it, that should embarrass you, and you should hide that and not willfully talk about that. Did you learn nothing from last month when a bunch of people just turned their subscriptions off? Because I would suspect, might even put money on the idea that if you actually enable that feature, you're going to lose more subscribers. Because why the heck would anyone want to pay, what is it, $160 a year for Disney Plus to watch AI-generated garbage from other users? Because what this sounds like is Disney's like, hey, you know what? Why spend our hard-earned money making TV shows and cartoons when we can just allow our subscribers to pay us for the privilege of making content for us? Now, of course, not the worst Bob would likely say, oh, no, this would supplement our existing output. Just like video game publishers don't pull content out of video games to sell later as DLC. They'd never do that. So, yeah. Not the worst CEO, but, working on it. Let's see, what else happened this week? Oh. So Ubisoft put out a Anno 11.7 Pax Romana, which is one of those city builder games, and it's got AI images in it. I'm glad we're paying money so that, the people can, the people who make games can just generate images for us to look at. Feels good to pay money to look at images that other people are generating, right? So anyway, so this game has some AI generated images. And oh, by the way, this game came out like yesterday, so it was people noticed real quick. I mean, maybe it was an artistic choice for people to have smeary faces, for there to be indistinct background detail, for people to have six fingers on one hand, for people's heads to be missing. That was my favorite one. There's a long shot of a bunch of people sitting in like a palace or something like that. One guy's head is just not there. It's not decapitated, it's just not drawn in. It's just no head. Oops. So Ubisoft put out a don't know if it's the CEO, but Ubisoft put out a statement that said this image was a placeholder asset that unintentionally slipped through our review process. I don't believe you. I don't think you actually have a process that screens images for AI art. Because if that was a big deal to you, you'd probably have some policy saying, don't use that shit. We pay you assholes good money. Don't use generative AI. We insist you actually draw that shit yourselves. So, no, I don't believe you, Ubisoft. But anyway, after lying about that, Ubisoft promised to replace one of the images during an upcoming patch with the same image, just altered to remove the obvious AI elements. I guess they're just going to leave the other images, including the one where a guy is missing his head. Good job, Ubisoft. I mean, I'd say the fact that Ubisoft is a haven for sex pests, that the Yves Guillemot and the other executive management protect knowingly and have for decades. I'd say that's a bigger problem, but yeah, this sucks too. And finally, Activision. Hey, remember when Black Ops 6, the zombie thing came out and people quickly identified AI art? Yeah, AI art in, or not art, imagery. Art is the application of creativity and intelligence. And AI generation has neither. So it's not art. It's just AI imagery. Subtle thing. I'm being petty. What do you want? Black Ops 7, I think that came out yesterday. And so, yeah, I immediately noticed that there's AI imagery in it. And Activision, again, don't know if it's the CEO, is probably just a PR rep or something. Basically say, come on, man, everyone's doing it. Which, no. And also, it's really funny that Call of Duty is one of those franchises that essentially prints money. Like, there have been some bright spots in the last decade and a half or two, but it's pretty clear that, the executive class at Activision, not necessarily the creatives in game development, but the executive class are just shitting in a box, happy to shit in a box and slap $60, $70 price tags on it and say, yeah, whatever. Was it Black Ops 7 that just came out that they forgot to put in the fucking functionality for pausing the game? Oops, forgot. Yeah, you can't pause the single player campaign, so go to the bathroom before you start playing. If someone knocks on the door, your phone rings, ignore it. Can't pause the game. You'd think that, again, this game, no matter what, my point is, the game makes money no matter what you do. You don't have to cut more corners. So, they then lied, continued to lie, saying that the use of AI tools supports and empowers the employees, you see. The self-same employees that they lay off in bulk by the hundreds, sometimes thousands, every single year. Mm-hmm. Yep. certainly does support and empowers the people that you're using as an excuse to lay off. Good job, Activision. Y'all suck. All right, let's talk about something else because that's depressing. So, Valve debuted their Steam machine, which is literally a GameCube. It's it's actually more cubish than the GameCube was. The GameCube was a bit squat. It was shorter than it was length or its y-axis was shorter than its z and x-axis. Its height was shorter than its length and width. No pricing, which means it's probably prohibitively expensive. Um, yeah, I don't know about this one. I looked at the specs and it's they're touting 4K 60 and I looked at the specs and I went, maybe if you're playing Vampire Survivors or Balatro or something. Uh if you're playing one of these lovely AI image infused games like Call of Duty 7 or 6 or Ubisoft's City Builder, uh maybe not so much. Looking at the specs, it looks like somewhere between like a Xbox Series X and the base PS5. Closer to the base PS5, I would think. But yeah, when they say 4K 60, methinks they mean it's possible, not at the same time and not for every game. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But what really caught my attention was the controller, which is not an attractive piece of kit, but who cares? I don't really. I'll look at it, think it looks silly, I'll point and laugh, and that's about it. It actually reminded me of that brick of an original Xbox controller from back in the day. Chaos, hello. Supposedly it's between a Series X and Series X, S and X. It will live and die by the price. Yeah, if it is, somewhere about that power level, which looking at the specs seems like it, and it's $800 or $1,000. I mean, I understand it's also a PC, but probably doesn't come with a keyboard or a mouse or a monitor. It's like $800 or $1,000 or something like that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I agree. Live and die by the price. I mean, if it's 450 or $500, sure. Granted, I'm pretty sure that would be just the cube and not the controller, and certainly not the headset. Um, the interesting thing for me about the controller are the little track pads on the controller. They also remind me of the Xbox Brick controller, which had the black and white buttons out of reach, where you had to like slide your hand up, either have a very long thumb, or you had to slide your hand up the side to reach them. So they released the Xbox Controller X, which put them below the X, Y, A, B buttons. Down, so you had to move your thumb down here to hit them. Wasn't comfortable either. Oh, now you don't have to reach up. Now you have to reach down. Oh, cool, thanks, guys. That's what the positioning looks like to me. Now, don't knock it till you try it. Absolutely. I'm telling you what it looks like to me, not how it is. I will reserve judgment until I get my grubby little mitts on it, which will probably never happen because stores don't do demos anymore. Demo kiosks, at least not that I've seen. And I don't think I want to touch anything that a bunch of people are getting their grimy little disgusting hands on. So I don't know if I do it anyway. But I read some impressions, and while I didn't see anybody say that the trackpads were uncomfortable, I did hear a few people mention that they were awkwardly positioned. That they're not the most natural to reach. They did appreciate that they're angled and beveled towards where your thumb even though you have to move your thumb in a weird way to get to it, it's at least accommodating that motion. So that's nice, but yeah, looks pretty awkward. Could be great, but looks a little awkward to me. Speaking of awkward, here's a great transition. The Super Mario Galaxy movie, Nintendo debuted the trailer for that earlier this week. And hey, it's Super Mario movie. I like the first movie. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. I thought it was aesthetically gorgeous. I thought it was a lot of fun to look at. The jokes landed for me. I just wish there was more movie to the movie, right? It was fine, but I felt it could have been more. I thought uh, there were many solid meaty thematic hooks that they could have latched the story onto. Uh, One I've talked about before is the fact that both Mario and DK both have daddy issues. Ooh, well, that's interesting. We could mine some yummy, yummy drama out of that, but we don't because it's a Mario Brothers movie and who cares? I don't know. I'm like, missed opportunity. It's just the movie's not as good as it could have been, me thinks. Will they do any better with the Mario Galaxy movie? I don't know. I'll find out. Because I'll see it. Uh, let's see. I think the most notable thing about the trailer is it's got not Baby Bowser Jr. in it. A character that I don't like at all and never have. I don't like how the character is portrayed, personality wise. I find him just really annoying and grating, and I don't like the design. I I kind of like the idea of the design, like a young version of Bowser who wants to be a mean, menacing, scary bad guy like dear old dad, but he's just kind of too small and round and cute. So he has this like bandana that he wears over his face that has a crude like crayon drawing of an open toothy maw. I think conceptually that's a fun idea, and I feel that the design fails in every single element of that concept. Because I don't find Bowser Jr. particularly cute in the first place, and his personality is grating. I don't like it. Might just be me. Um, so if the movie manages to make me like or at least not hate Bowser Jr., hey, I would say that's a win right there. Um, though what's with his eyes? He's got like these small, weird, beady, bloodshot eyes in the trailer. What's going on there? It's like, are we going for creepy? Or at first I thought there was like some weird rendering mistake, and then I looked at him and I'm like, no, that's just what his eyes look like. That's weird. Maybe the point will be that Bowser Jr. is genuinely scary. I mean, Bowser Sr. is just a goof, and he's kind of lovable. And juxtaposing it with his kid who thinks he's like a you know cute as a Pokemon, but is actually genuinely viscerally off-putting, and he's still trying to compensate for what he thinks is adorable, and he's just making it worse. That could be hilarious. I don't think they're putting that much thought into it. I don't think that's what's going on at all. But we'll see. Jared, hello. He is supposed to be cute? I think so. Bowser Jr., I think he's supposed to be cute. I think that's the joke, right? Bowser Jr. wants to be an intimidating, fire breathing dragon that strikes fear into the hearts of mere Mushroom Kingdom denizens. But he can't because he's just an adorable little squishy Pokemon like ball of cuteness. So he's desperately trying. It would be like Pikachu trying to be intimidating, or better yet, what's the other one? Eevee, right? Even cuter. Imagine Eevee desperately trying to intimidate you. That could be really funny. And I think that's the concept behind Bowser Jr., and it doesn't work at all. Yeah, so I like the concept, at least what I think the concept is. But yeah, I agree. I don't think it works because he's not cute. Like, just ignore the personality. Just look at him as a character. He's instantly annoying. He's just, I mean, he's not off-puttingly creepy or ugly. He's just kind of there. Like, for that to work, he should be like adorable. He should be, oh, I just want to pinch your little cheeks. You know, you just want to pick him up and hug him and squeeze him and call him George. And so I think that's the concept. That's when I look at the character and put my critical analysis specs on, that's what leaps out to me as what they were going for, and I think they failed. Just in the tangible details of the design itself. I think the concept, if I'm correct, is strong, but I think it just fails in the design. And it just comes off as a really off-putting, annoying character that I really wish wasn't in any of the games. Which is funny because I love the Koopa kids. They're all great. They've got great designs. They're adorable. They're bratty, mischievous little snot waffles, but they are cute to an extent. You probably wouldn't want to hug them. They're probably unclean. But you know, they're not trying to be cute. They're not trying to overcompensate for being cute. That's not their shtick. They're just snotty little kids, and they're funny. Everyone, not everyone, but yeah, you know, most people really seem to dig the Koopa. You know, Roy O. Koopa and or Roy and Wendy and Ludwig and Lemmy, who are all the Morton. You know, most people really seem to dig and have always dug the Koopa kids. I don't know many people who I don't know anyone who likes. I've never done a survey, but I don't know anyone who likes Bowser Jr. At best, like, people or don't have an opinion or tolerate him. I don't know. It's like, oh, Bowser, I love that character. He's in this game. Yeah, great. It's like, oh no. Well, hopefully he's not too annoying. Seems is the kind of vibe I get, but just mine opinion. Let's see. Jared says, I've always thought he was supposed to be a little annoying brat. I mean, he is, but I think he is, but in an entertaining way. You know, you're supposed to like the character, recognizing he's an annoying little brat, but that's supposed to be an entertaining aspect of the character, and I don't think it is. I think he's just grating and annoying. You know, it's kind of like the difference between a character you hate and a character you love to hate. Big difference there. So anyway, Super Mario Galaxy movie might be overstuffed. It's got Rosalina in it. Yoshi's going to be in it. Wasn't even in the trailer. I don't think this trailer was as good as the first trailer. The first trailer was mostly the standoff between Bowser and the Penguin Army, which was hilarious. They basically just showed that scene with the penguins putting up a front against Bowser's army, and they just chuck snowballs at him, and they're very, that is but a taste of our power. Do you yield? That was funny, right? There wasn't really anything like that in this trailer. It was just like, oh, there's another Mario movie. Well, okay, cool. The first one was adorable, so yeah, I'm sure I'll like the second one just fine, even if it is a little light on the thematic goodness. I'm sure it'll be pretty. I'll be able to, I'm old, so I'll be able to point at stuff and go, I recognize that thing from that game. And that's always fun. The humor worked for me for the most part in the first movie. Humor's subjective, of course, but for me, most of the jokes landed. So I imagine it's going to be the same for the second movie. So if we get the first movie again, but they, take the story more seriously in the sense that they say something, that would be nice. It's not that the first movie doesn't say anything, it's just not saying anything particularly notable or interesting or deep. It's got a theme. It does have one. It's not like it doesn't have a story or themes. It definitely does. I just thought it could do more. And I think it would be better, even for children, if it did. But it didn't. Oh well. Lindy, hello. So, Mario Galaxy. Metroid Prime 4. I totally forgot that was coming out this year, but Nintendo reminded me with a overview video. And an overview video that I made fun of on social media because I thought it was kind of funny. So, it's a 6 or 7 minute video. Or maybe I'm confusing that with the Kirby Air Riders overview video. I was like, Jesus, more Kirby Air Riders Nintendo Direct stuff? No, it's just an overview video, but it was like 7 minutes long, because I think they felt they had to condense the hour and 40-some minute Masahiro Sakurai epic into some... It's like, look, some people aren't going to watch all that, dude. We got to just squish that into a video. Anyway, so we had the Nintendo had the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond overview video. One of the first things they say is that Samus awakens on an unknown planet called Vuros. And my first thought was, if the planet's unknown, who named it? Ah? And yes, I know. What they mean, it's unknown to Samus and probably, the Federation and stuff. It's clearly not unknown to the civilization that lived there and built a bunch of, factories and laboratories and facilities and stuff that litter the entire landscape. It's like, it's unknown. It's probably not unknown to the people who clearly lived here at one time. I just thought the wording was funny. But anyway, so they're talking about the 3D mapping thing, which looks exactly the same, that more high res, of course, but same wireframe 3D map that we've seen in the other Metroid Prime games. And they say the maps are maze-like and intricately detailed, while showing a picture of the 3D wireframe maps, which are definitely not intricately detailed, and at least the image that they showed for this part of the trailer, not maze-like either. It was pretty much just a straight shot. There's like no branching paths at all. It's linear. I'm sure there are more complicated areas in the game, but if you're going to call it intricately detailed and maze-like, maybe make sure the imagery matches the narration. Yeah. Again, it's just the word. It feels like the persons probably who wrote the script and the persons who gathered footage and edited the video together were two completely different sets of people, and they never met or spoke. In this game, Samus is not going it alone. Much like in, I guess, Other M, a really great game to take inspiration from, methinks. She runs into some other Federation troopers. Hey, neat. That tells me there's going to be romance options. Whom amongst the Federation soldiers will Samus get to smooch? And will all of the dialogue options in the romance sections, the character will say something, and in something like Baldur's Gate 3, you'll have it's like, um, I'm let's just be friends. I think your butt looks great in those pants, and go jump in a lake, you troll. Whereas in Metroid Prime, or in Metroid Prime 4, Samus, all of Samus's possible dialogue responses are just going to be ellipses. Just option A, ellipses. Option B, ellipses. Option C, ellipses. She just stoically stares at you. Just completely unreadable behind the visor. Chaos says, I wonder how excited Super Metal Dave is, or is he tearing his hair out after seeing a certain character, which we'll get to. A certain character, by the way, that was not featured, whose personality was not shown off in the Nintendo overview trailer. But what I found was the same day, I'm guessing an embargo dropped. A bunch of enthusiast press outlets got hands-on time with at least the opening hour or so of the game. And I read a few impressions, and they all mentioned one of these Federation troopers. And let's just say none of the authors who offered up their impressions from the opening hours of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond appear to be interested in romancing this particular character. The engineer. Fred. Whatever his name is. Because he's Screech from Saved by the Bell, essentially. This character is chatty and annoying. He's like Fi from Skyward Sword. Only an incompetent klutz who keeps putting himself and others, being you, because I think you're the only other person, in danger through his laughable ineptitude. So he's the kind of guy who cracks really uncomfortably lame jokes, keeps dropping his gun on the floor. Not sure. It probably has shot himself in the foot several times. They probably don't allow him to have bullets. I don't know why they let him to have the gun. He's got a really whiny, nasally voice that makes you want to... Maybe you can shoot him. Maybe you can shoot him. So he becomes not only an escort quest, joy, we all love those, but my understanding from the couple impressions I read is he is introduced about an hour into the game, and yet not only does he forcibly accompany you and comment on everything incessantly, but he also acts as like a living tutorial. Hey, did you know that you can scan things? Or, hey, did you know you can use a missile on that door? Hey, listen. Which, though annoying, could at least be understandable from a gameplay standpoint, except, again, my impression is he doesn't show up for like an hour, so it seems like everything that he's telling you is stuff that you would have already figured out in the last hour of gameplay. Now, luckily, his sequence is, 20, 30 minutes long, and you eventually get him where he's going, and he sets up base and he stays there and maybe leaves you alone for the rest of the adventure. And maybe he's just particularly annoying, and the rest of the... I would imagine that there's a main hub. You find a Federation person and you lead them to the main hub. You go out, explore somewhere else, find another person, and lead them back to the main hub. And you collect them in one place, and then they all stay there and offer maybe some passive gameplay buff or perk. Maybe. Hopefully the motorcycle, doesn't talk to you. Hopefully it's not like an AI bike with Siri installed or Cortana or something like that, and the bike wants to chat with you too. I've seen some people. No, Samus is alone, and she should be alone, and it's the Metroid is about solitary stuff. I, that doesn't bother me. The fact that there are other characters there to interact with, that doesn't bother me. But I've seen some footage of this guy talking, and yeah, he's really annoying. Let me put it this way. I did not play Monster Hunter Stories specifically because of Navarro, who is that really obnoxiously annoying cat person in the first two games, I think. Uh, there's a cat companion in the third one. It's not Navarro, but he also, I don't think, has spoken in any of the trailers, so I'm honestly not sure. Yeah, oof, man. That, that's a horrifically terrible idea, and can you... Metroid Prime 4 is a game that wasn't working and they completely scrapped and restarted. Oh my god, what was it before this? Wait, this was the improvement? This is how you made it better? Now, to be clear, I haven't played it. No one's played more than the first, like, 2 hours or something. Maybe in context it works better, or at least the context of the rest of the game. Impossible to say at this point. Uh, maybe a preview just doesn't present him in the best light. I don't know. But, ooh boy. Chaos says his dialogue sounds like it was written by Marvel movie writers. Oh, come on. Yeah, so that's certainly cause for concern. I wonder if Nintendo just didn't see that coming. How could you not? Did like through all the playtesting and all of the upper management sign-offs, no one went, "Oh god, that's terrible. That's annoying. No one's going to like this guy." Now people are going to hate this guy. There are going to be people who don't buy the game over this guy. Possibly. So, yeah, I was not surprised nor put off by the trailer that Nintendo cut showing that, hey, Samus works with other Federation soldiers. I'm fine with that. Although, again, reading from other impressions, I lost my train of thought. Reading from other impressions. Oh, Samus doesn't say anything. It's weird when you do that. Don't do. From what I understand, Samus, although this chatty person just keeps yammering, she just doesn't answer him ever. She doesn't have any. It's not even the her lines aren't voiced. She just doesn't talk to me. At that point, it just comes off as really damn rude, you know? Um, so I don't know how well that's going to work if you have 4 or 5 Federation soldiers all having full conversations and dialogue, and Samus is just standing there and occasionally not. At least with Link, you occasionally get a grunt. you know? Samus, I don't know you get anything out of. I, Nintendo. Metroid M had some issues. The mere fact that Samus spoke, in and of itself, was not the problem. I'm afraid you might be learning the wrong lessons. Like a dum-dum. It's like, oh, I know what the problem is. Samus spoke. So all we have to do is just keep Samus quiet. No, that wasn't the problem, you silly goose. The problem was the dialogue was bad. That was the problem. Not that Samus spoke. I mean, I'm sure you could find some people who are like, she must remain silent at all times. Nothing can change ever. But most people, I think, were fine with the idea of Samus talking. I don't think anyone ever thought she was, like, literally mute. Right? I think pretty much everyone assumed canonically that when she went home, she actually spoke to people, you know? She just wasn't chatting because she was alone on an alien planet and the space pirates weren't great conversationalists. I mean, you can ask a Metroid to please stop sucking on your head. Don't know that it's gonna do any good. Though maybe someone could try. Hey, stop sucking on my head, Metroid. Metroid would be like, oh, shit. Yeah, sorry. Should have asked. Yeah, very, very inconsiderate of me. You know what? No one's ever complained. I just go around sucking on things' heads and no one's ever complained. They usually die. But no one's ever initially complained. So I'm glad you said something. Now I feel bad. Shame on me. It's that very quippy Joss Whedon style. Uh, it's just I mean, there's nothing wrong with jokes. Jokes are funny. I mean, good jokes. Maybe not just some jokes are not funny. But, yeah, there's just good writing and there's bad writing. This is an obnoxious character with... This is just in the context that I've seen so far, this is poorly conceived and poorly implemented. It's just going to be off-putting and annoying, and does not appear to... like what I'd mentioned, it's like, well, he's just a way to teach you the ropes of the game. And once you get through the tutorial segment, he pisses off and you're fine. Okay, doesn't mean it has to be annoying, but okay. But again, as I mentioned, this appears, and I could be wrong about this, but this appears to happen like an hour into the game where you've already learned the ropes. I don't need this jackass telling me to push forward on the control stick to walk. I've been doing that for the last hour. You know, I figured out the gun. I figured out aiming and missiles and all that stuff before I got to him. I don't need him to tell me how to pause the game or save or whatever, or scan. I've been doing that the entire time. It's weird that now it comes off as condescending. Like the game's been watching me and evaluating my performance and saying, oh, does baby gamer need someone to hold their hand? Now that's not a good feeling. I don't want my video game to think of me that way. I want my video game to think that I'm a good special boy who's great at video games. It's very important that games think good of me. The video game industry always learns the wrong lesson. Yeah, it's not just the game industry, but yes, I'd say broadly the entertainment industry. They always seem to take it. You are right. I agree with you anyway. So we're both right or we're both wrong. We are together. Yeah. To be less reductive, it might be more true to say that it's the people in positions of power, with the approval decisions, the people with the access to the money who can green light shit. Those people are the ones who keep learning the wrong lessons because they're idiots, broadly. And they don't actually care about the art. Like, a lot of them don't care about, video games or movies. They care about making money. They don't understand any of this stuff. And it's difficult to understand because, some of it's a crapshoot. You can make a great piece of art and it just flops. because it doesn't connect, or it releases at the wrong time, or any number of elements that are beyond your control or ability to predict. And sometimes really bad, objectively bad art just makes a killing. Now you can increase your odds by making good art, and I'd say making bad odds decreases your odds, but sometimes weird stuff happens. Art's weird like that. But as we were talking about with the wrong lessons, you can see that even in bad stuff, right? You will have a bad, incompetent movie like, it's not The Birds, what, Birdemic or The Room, right? Genuinely bad movies made by incompetent people. Earnest, perhaps, but incompetent. Not bad people necessarily, I don't know either one of them, but definitely bad at putting a film together. But those were cultural explosions in and of themselves. They made a ton of money, got a ton of attention, and wrong lessons were learned. It's like, oh, let's make something intentionally bad because people like things that are bad. And it's like, no, that's not what people liked. You're learning the wrong lesson. You are dumb. Oh well. People's heads will explode when Link talks in the Zelda movie. Yeah, I imagine. Like, I don't have a problem with Link talking, right? I don't have a problem with him being right-handed instead of left-handed. It fine. I don't care. Doesn't really matter. Like, the Link's a different guy in most of the games. It's fine. I don't need him to have brown hair anymore than I need him to be blonde or have pink hair like he did in one of them. Was it Super NES one? I think Link. What is that game? Link to the Past? Is that the one? Yeah, I'm not. Now I do admit that I get a little thrill. If Link didn't say anything, or if they made him deaf and he communicated via fairy or some type of sign language, cool. That'd be neat. Don't see a hero like that too often. And if he was a lefty, I'd be like, Link's a lefty, nice. Yeah, that's fun. I'm certainly not above doing the point I recognize the thing kind of thing and getting a quick little thrill out of that. It's certainly not the most important thing. But yeah, I'm actually genuinely curious to see what they do with the Zelda flick. Yeah, we'll see. Lindy says it's all about timing and luck. There's definitely I don't think we should discount skill, but you can be the most skillful artist that has ever arted and go hungry. I've talked about this with landing the job I did 3 years ago, and hopefully get to keep, because oh boy, I mentioned last week that one of our team got laid off, and I knew there were others, but they hadn't told us, and I work from home, so it's really hard to tell. It was 10% of the IT department. And they're pretty sure that that's the end of it. Probably. For the fiscal year. At least most likely. They don't have any actual indication that any more layoffs are coming this fiscal year. Doesn't mean there aren't, but it's like, oh my god. We have stand-ups. My team has stand-ups twice a week. And we've fairly recently started doing a thing where we open with a joke and we close with a moment of gratitude. Just to try and keep things light and fun, right? Like, this week, we forgot to do the gratitude thing, and so we just picked on someone. It's like, hey, can you give us a gratitude? And she goes, yeah, I'm grateful I didn't get laid off. And it's like, yeah. 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 Hmm. 'Cause I'm not vested yet. That's and it's a man that boy morale is down the toilet. And I know it's not just my place of employment. My sister's place of employment as having we're both in the education system, so we're seeing similar things. And yeah, really bad for morale because now everybody is depressed and scared and doesn't know what the future is. And it's like, oh my God, I might be able to retire someday. I mean, yeah, if I don't get laid off. If I can ride out this awesome job for the next 2 decades, yeah, but who the hell knows if that's gonna happen? I'm not even vested yet. I won't be for another about a year and a half. So, ooh, yeah. I was. It sucks because everyone now just wants to. No one wants to stand out. No one wants to. Everyone is just wants to aim for meets expectations on the yearly performance review, right? Yeah. Oh man, it sucks. Lindy, 2 more decades till retirement as long as I don't get laid off. Yeah. Um, because I've been in a fortunate enough position to be able to start putting money away for retirement, but I certainly don't have enough enough. If I get laid off, I will have to get another job. And as I'm sure many of you know, getting a job right now, I'm very fortunate to have not just a great job, but a job. If I lose it, getting it, almost definitely will not be able to land in a job anywhere near as good, and um, it will be difficult to um, get a job. Period. So, well, fingers crossed for all of us. Lindy says, I can only retire when I can no longer hold a pencil, maybe. Yeah. All right, where's my thing? So Metroid, yeah, there's an open question. I'm sure it looks like Monster Hunter Stories. Hey, can you get past Navarro? If so, yeah, you'll like the game. Maybe Metroid Prime 4 is the same. Can you get past this engineering guy? If so, yeah, it's a fun game. It's Metroid. It's fun. This guy's annoying, but it's just his escort quest. It's half an hour towards the beginning of the game. Once you get through that, it's fine. We'll see. Fingers crossed. A lot of finger crossing. Um, So I finished Monster Hunter Wilds in the sense that I had goals and I completed them. So my goals were to craft every weapon that I use, which this is a game that most people I think are going to at least main 2 different weapons because there's that weapon swapping mechanic. So I went with Charge Blade, which is one I've done before, but I really like the weapon, and Hammer, which is a new one for me. And I derive great joy from bonking things on the head, so it's been working for me. So I'm like, I want to create all of the hammers and all of the Charge Blades. I did that. And I said, I want to create every single piece of armor in the game. Every single piece of craftable armor, not any of the DLC crap. So I have now crafted every single individual armor piece, both masculine and feminine, um, and all of the Palico weapons and armor pieces, including all of the event quest stuff, like you know, um, the weird hats and stuff that some of the events give you. My last one was the Savage Omega armor pieces, and that guy was being very stingy. Um, its pieces are very expensive. First of all, three of the five main pieces, which means six overall, required what is essentially the Omega Planetus gem, which is a 2 to 3% drop rate. Not the worst, but not the best either. So, what that means is you have your quest rewards have a 2% chance of being that thing, and your carves have a 3% chance of being that thing. So I maximized it by using lucky tickets, which increased the number of um, quest rewards, and doing a carving skill, which gave me an extra carve or two. It took me, I had to kill 14 of those Sons of Gunses to get all of the drops. But the pieces also required gems from other monsters, the high tier monsters, like Zoshia, Arkfeld, Legiacris, and Legiacris was very stubborn about dropping its gems. Mitsutsune and Seregios. So expensive pieces, but yesterday I think I finally got the last Savage, well, not Savage Omega, but just Omega gem to drop, and made my full armor sets, and there we go. We are done. I guess I could make other weapon, like, it's like, well, okay, learn how to play greatsword. I could, but I could also just play other video games too. The Gogmazios, of course, the game's not over yet. Gogmazios is being introduced next month, along with a title update, which is going to change how the lower rank equipment is used. Like for some resources, you can upgrade some lower like rank rarity 5 and 6 equipment to increase its defense and add decoration slottage to it, which is very enticing. So, looking forward to that. Also, I think next week or the week after, there's a new event quest which will have a new little armor piece to, a new fun hat to wear, and I love that silly stuff. And I'm sure that Wilds will have a master rank expansion update, a la Iceborne or Sunbreak. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I really enjoyed Monster Hunter. I did skip out on Sunbreak. Rise just didn't really do it for me, but I'm really enjoying Wilds, even though I think Capcom just really sucks at PC games, and its incompetence at making stable running PC games kind of bled over into the console versions, because the game doesn't run well. It's got some really serious texture loading issues. Oh well, still fun to play, but that is a darn shame. I saved up and splurged for the PS5 Pro in part for Monster Hunter Wilds, because I was like, well, I need a PS5, and if I'm gonna get a PS5 at this point, may as well shell out for the Pro. Well, Ghost of Tsushima looked really nice. And I'm sure Ghost of Yotei, once it drops in price, will look nice too. And, I really enjoyed Astrobot, Playroom and Bot. What else have I played? Doom the Dark Ages. I had a lot of fun with that. And, Stellar Blade was fun too. Another game with lots of costumes, although you don't have to craft them in Stellar. Well, actually, you kind of do. You actually do need materials to unlock, I guess, or buy the costumes. Yeah, whatever. Chaos says, seems like the industry as a whole has a problem with optimization these days. There seems to be a lot of those issues. Yeah. I think some of it is, I think a lot of this is upper management kind of stuff, and an attitude of just ship it, and if it makes money, then we'll consider spending more money to fix it with a patch. But, if we ship it and it flops, then we're not going to spend any more money on it to fix it. And, if we're lucky, modders will fix it for us, and we don't have to pay them. We could sue them, though. Yeah. Yeah, there's I I don't know. Maybe we need to there's no way to enforce this. But pie in the sky thing is like you can't be a CEO of a company whose product you don't care about. You're not passionate about. You don't get to be a CEO unless you're actually passionate about whatever the hell your company does. If it's movies, if it's video games, you better be passionate about movies and video games. Doesn't mean you need to be able to make one yourself, but it does mean that you need to actually give a damn about them. I think that might help some stuff. I also think it would be nice if, sociopaths didn't get to be in charge of anyone. People who put profits above all else, including other people's well-being, even their lives. You know, I, I maybe I couldn't possibly understand unless I was rich, but I look at a person who has multiple millions of dollars and then takes actions to hurt other people so that they can have more millions. Not to help people, but just to make the number go up, I guess. I don't know everything. I don't understand everything, but I look at a person like that and I go, "Well, that's a bad person." And they shouldn't be in charge of anybody. They shouldn't even be a manager at a fast food joint. They should never have power. They should never have power over anyone else because they abuse it. Feasible? Maybe not. But it would be nice if the people who have the power to hurt others for their own gain, just didn't, because they just didn't want to. They're like, you know what? I could crush this group of people, and it would benefit me financially to do so. But I'm not going to do that. Jesus, of course I wouldn't do that. Who would do that? You know? It's kind of like, have you ever had a passing dark thought? Like, have you ever looked at a cat? A small cat. They're this big. They weigh 10 pounds. Some of them heavier, but cats are comparatively small creatures, comparatively delicate, and they're, unless you have a particularly ugly one, they're usually really cute. So have you ever looked at a cat, maybe sitting on the arm of a couch or up on a mantle, and it's looking at you, and it does the, kind of the flop over kind of thing, it tilts its head until it's kind of rolling over, and it's purring loud enough that you can hear it across the room. And then you think, what if I punched that cat in the face? What would even happen? What if I just hauled off with a full haymaker and I just punched this cat dead in the face? Oh my god, could you even... I can't even imagine what would happen. How would the cat even react if it didn't die or go unconscious? Would it be like, dude, what the hell? Wait, what if I punched a cat in the face? I've never even heard of anyone doing that. But what if I did? I mean, I'm definitely not going to do that, and I hope no one ever does, right? It's that kind of a thing. It's that dark thought that occasionally passes through our heads, or maybe it's just me because I'm sick, where we're like, wow, I could do something really bad. So bad it's almost kind of funny to think about because it's just so absurd. Punching a cat in the face, I would never do that. But sometimes you just have that dark thought. I wish that Bobby Kotick of Activision was the type of person who was like, you know what? I could lay off thousands of employees really hurt these people and their families. And if I did that, I could add like a couple million more dollars to my bank account on top of the multiple tens of millions that I already have that I'm definitely never going to use. I could ruin so many lives and it would benefit me. I could do that. Holy biscuits. I'm definitely not going to do that. What kind of fucking monster would do that, though? Of course I'm not going to do that. Jesus Christ, I would give up several million of my multiple millions of dollars just so I didn't have to lay anybody off. I don't want to lay anybody off. That's horrible. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, and I like my sleep. That mattress stuffed with money, it's so comfy, guys. But how could I sleep on my mattress stuffed with money with the thoughts of all of the people whose lives I've ruined? Just for more money? Are you insane? Yeah, I mean, I've had the thought. Who hasn't thought of punching a cat in the face? But of course I'm not gonna do it. I'm not a monster. Except we know many of them are. And they will do that. And they have done that. And unless they're somehow prevented from doing that, that's not a call to violence or anything, it's likely they'll keep doing that. Which makes me wonder, are there people out there who have actually punched a cat in the face? Well, that's a depressing thought. I don't want to end the podcast on kitty face punching. Shit, that's the last thing. That's the last thing on my podcast notes. Lindy, Andrew, no, not the kitty face punch. It's like when I went off of that little riff on the little girl in Trails in the Sky talking about her daddy not coming home. It's like, no, don't go towards the dark. What are you doing? NetXL, hello. I assume the probability of that thought increases based on the number of plush toys a person owns. Oh, you mean like like that over there? Yeah. The maintenance dude, I live in an apartment complex. We have a maintenance dude, and I had him get me here's a better topic to end on than kitty face punching. Our maintenance dude, one of the lights in my bathroom burnt out. There's 4 bulbs above the bathroom mirror, and one of them burnt out. I went to Walmart, and I could not find a light like that. All the ones at Walmart were just LED bulbs, and this is a really big filament bulb, and I couldn't find anything like that, and I wasn't totally sure that I could just screw any light bulb in there, so I called our maintenance dude, and he came over, and luckily he had an extra, so he gave me a new bulb. But he actually asked me about that tower of plushies. You know, why, how I built it, things like that, because his son or nephew or something like that is getting older, moving on into adulthood, and does have a sizable plushie collection of their own. And he asked me about this, and I told him, well, I mean, these are all plushies from my youth. Each one has a story. And I personally find it a lot more fun to have them out and displayed like that, rather than packed in boxes or put in a plastic 50-gallon bin or something where they just sit and rot for the rest of my life. And he just thought something like that was a really cool idea. I don't I don't cuddle them. I don't play with them anymore. But I still like them. They're a part of the first chunk of my life, and I have a great fondness for them. And sometimes I look at them. I look at individual plushies on there, and they and remember some fun things about my youth. And I wouldn't enjoy that if they were packed away in a box somewhere. It is silly, and a lot of people have mentioned that. It's like, dude, you're a grown man with a um, with a pole full of plushies in your living room, in the middle of your living room. What if you had company over? My sister doesn't mind. so, um, so yeah, I found it a good way to store and display my plushies in a way that makes me happy. One of the things I'd always kind of wanted to do is if I ever had a house, which I now realize I probably never will. I don't think I will ever live in a house. I will probably always live in a one bedroom apartment at best, which is okay. But when I grew up, the understanding of the way it works is you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get a house, and most people, get married and have kids, but that was just the thing you did. Well, that's not even with the good job I have now. I ain't affording a house, certainly not in Southern California. That ain't in the cards unless a lot of weird stuff changes. A lot of disparate things change. I can't afford a home. That ain't happening. Um so but if I did have more the point was if I had more space, one of the things I'd always wanted to do was have a room dedicated to displaying all of my toys, all of my action figures. Just have a lot of shelves and uh, just display all of my Masters of the Universe and Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters action figures from when I was a kid. Just have shelves and have all that stuff displayed just in a room. It'd be cool. I also want a pony. Actually, no, I don't want a pony. But I would like a piano. Certainly not going to have one. That's another thing I always thought I'd have. It's like, you know what? Someday I'm gonna have a piano. I have like an electric Casio keyboard, but I'd really love to have a piano. Maybe a baby grand. Maybe that's asking too much, but at least an upright, right? But that's really tough to have in like an apartment, and that's probably not happening. At best, I would have to just get a decent full 8 octave keyboard. I still have a 5 octave, and it's a really old Casio one, and it's pretty crap. But it gets the job done. Um, so yeah, those were some things that I always wanted to do. I was like, when I grow up and I have a house, I'm gonna display all of my stuff. Because what fun is it to pack it all in boxes where you don't get to see it? I want. Yeah, I'm not gonna play with my Transformer toys or Ghostbusters or anything anymore. Um, but I'd love to have them. Boy, that'd be a bitch to dust and clean. But I'd love to have them displayed. Well, I managed to get the stuffed animals, so that's something. All my action figures are in boxes in my closet because I can't really put them anywhere else. I can't like run shelves. At least I have my DVDs, my video games displayed on shelves, and I do have a really big bookcase in my bedroom where I have all of my the rest of my video games and all of my books and my music. Um, and a couple magazines, my Nintendo Powers and Fangoria magazines. That's in there too. Um, but yeah, only have so much space. I always thought I'd get a cat someday, but that's probably not happening either. I mean, yeah, I don't think they allow cats in this apartment complex. Um, but where would I put a litter box? Here in the living room? In the I don't want it in my bedroom. There's literally no room in the bathroom, and I don't want to put it in my kitchen. So, I don't think a cat would enjoy my one bedroom apartment. I think it would go stir crazy unless I got like a very like a sedentary senior cat or something like that. So, um, yeah. And to be clear, I don't think my mom lied to me about how life goes when I was young. Uh, so I don't. Uh, there were things she lied to me about, which, well, honest, it's difficult being raised um, with honesty being like the most important thing, the single greatest virtue you can have. Growing up, I never had um, any issue with the idea of mom being mad at me. I keep saying my dad's both parents still alive. Mom and dad divorced when I was 4 or 5, which is why I keep saying mom and not dad because he wasn't in the picture. Uh, Not that we never saw him, we did, but um, mom raised me and my sister. What was I saying? Truth. Yeah, truth was important. I was never bothered by the idea of mom being mad at me, but mom being disappointed in me. Oh, that hurt. That stung. You know. So to grow up and find out that there were things that mom actually, even small things, that mom actually was not truthful about, that even unimportant things, still rubs me the wrong way. But anyway, no, I don't think mom lied about how the way life works. I think that's just the way life worked when she was growing up and how she assumed, and understandably so, life was going to pan out for her kids. So that wasn't a lie, but it certainly wasn't true. Which is for me okay because I personally don't mind apartment living. Uh, might even prefer it, but I think as with most people, it's preferable to have the option and be able to make the choice rather than not having the option, having the choice made for you. You know, it's fortunate that I prefer apartment living because I don't have a say in the matter. It's apartment or apartment, you know? Um, or move to another state, I suppose, where it's a lot cheaper to own a house, except while I can work remotely, which is great, can't work out of state. Got to be in the state. I think that's a tax thing. I think that's the compensation and state tax thing. I think that's why they do make a couple exceptions sometimes for some people, but yeah, they're like, no, you need to live in California to work for this California company. It's like you can work remotely. You don't even have to be in the same city, big state. You can live wherever the hell you want, really. But yeah. So anyway, I'm just kind of rambling on and on because I don't want to do any more work. I don't want to QA these insurance files. I'm so sick of looking at these goddamn things. um, yeah, says that should be more like Nintendo in the Wii U era. The executives took pay cuts to not have to lay anyone off. Yeah, and help morale. So that was a good thing. I don't want to say that every upper management or Nintendo CEO are just the bastions of goodness. I have no idea, but that was nice. Yeah, they Nintendo seems to be better than most, at least in some ways. Let's see. Exile says, I have a Fox toy that I've owned for almost 30 years. I still keep it for the sentimental value, functions like a memory totem. The only plushie I have that's not on the plushie pole there is Benny Bear, who I've shown off several times, which is a plush that was given to me when I was born, very shortly thereafter. It's a bear, it's about this big, and it sits on my nightstand next to my bed. And it sits flat on a flat surface because well, I mean, he's the oldest, he's the most special. He's older than me, that plushie. Couldn't have him hanging from the pole because he's gonna fall apart. I have to be very gentle with him now. He's over 45 years old, and he will very easily fall apart if I mishandle him. So, Jared says, set away around 4K and you can buy one. Not sure which one you're talking about, but 4K is a decent chunk. Jared says, it is also a California thing. A lot of businesses don't like California laws. Maybe. It's just one of those things. It's like, I work remotely. Who cares what state I'm in? And it's probably a combination of different states, different laws governing employment, and also different tax laws and stuff like that. So, anyway, I need to get back to work. So, second weekend in a row. I also had to work on Tuesday. Tuesday's a paid holiday, but I worked because had to. Because this stuff needs to get done. So, all right, I gotta go do work things. So everyone have a good night, and hope to see you tomorrow for some Cold Steel 2. Till then, friends, take care. Bye bye.